What is going on? This is the big guy, the one and only Melvin, and I am back. Today we are gonna replace a condenser. Why? It was defrosting not all the food from the freezer, but I realized that the ice cream wasn't, cold enough. It was kind of smush, soft. So previously I did a short video and I found out that there was dye right here and my water was all full of dye. So today we're gonna focus on replacing this. I know I've been slacking off with the videos. I was actually waiting for this part to arrive so I could show you guys. So we'll get started. And this is the new part. Identical. Of course, if you're gonna replace a part, get an OEM. But for now, we will get started. So we got a couple screws down here. Just 2 screws. Just 2 screws. This is straightforward. As for this, we're gonna cut it. This, we're just gonna sweat it off. All right. So one thing at a time. We just need to heat it up to the point till we see it a little bit cherry red. As we put flux, that colorish greenish is fine. And just like that. So that is that. And for the top part, which goes to the cabinet, we're just gonna cut it off. You don't want to cut it up too short, because if something goes wrong, you could have some space to fix it up a bit. I think that is way too high. Bear myself a bit. Normally I gotta put a rag, but completely forgot to wet my rag. Don't tell me this is not gonna cut it. This should cut it by now. Probably not. Nope, they're not cutting. Well, we'll try this. See if this does the job. All right. Of course, sand it a bit. We'll take the 2 screws out. And this should just start to come off. Well, looks like there was quite a mess before. Give me a second on that. Sorry about that. Had to clean that pan because it was really dirty. So here's the new one. Of course, it comes covered, so there's no contamination. We're just gonna take this off. Which one goes what? Of course, this part goes to the compressor right here. And then top one will go, of course, to the cabinet. So you're gonna want to sand them a bit. Just sand it. Once you do that, straightforward. Just gonna have to. There we go. Once you see everything's good, you can line this up to its place. You might want to bend it a little bit, just a little bit. Won't hurt anything. That's that. You can go ahead and put 2 screws. Just like that. This one will be a little bit tricky. It might come down. Of course, every time you're gonna do a seal system, even though this filter gets replaced, we're gonna have to replace it again. We don't want any small particles or contamination in the system again. So always replace this. I'm gonna sweat it off, of course. We're gonna put nitrogen, and we're gonna see if there's any oil. I highly doubt it, but with these refrigerators, they are full of surprises. I can tell you that. Of course, same materials, steel with steel. We're gonna use this pink flux silver solder. We're gonna do here and here to the cabinet. Again, keep in mind, it tends to get more hotter than copper to copper, so you don't need your flame that high. Well, we can increase it a little bit if we want, just a little bit. And now we're gonna see if we could put this guy without coming down. Oops. Remember, it gets hot quickly, so we don't want to burn the material. And of course, we don't want to over solder too, because we could plug it up and it's not fun when they get plugged up. Actually, looks like we have that out the way. We're gonna take the filter. Okay, that's that. Oops. Now we're gonna take the capillary, or you know what? In this case, We can just cut it off because we have a good amount aligned, so we could just cut it up if it wants to. There we go. Of course, hopefully the camera could focus it. Well, probably not. You see, there's a hole, so that's good. So there shouldn't be any problems. And since we just put a new condenser, what I'd like to do now is put nitrogen in the system. Just want to be sure everything's clean. We don't want no surprises that there's oil in the system. Of course, it was cooling fine. Oh, well, I added a couple ounces, so it was cooling fine. So we're just gonna a little bit, just to make sure there's no oil. And at the meantime, I could add bubble leak just to be sure there's no leak anywhere. I don't know if you guys can hear it. This is blowing, so that's good. That's a good thing. So that checked good. My soldering checked out good. Once I put the filter dryer, which is gonna do one more time, you wouldn't want no surprises. We don't want any leaks. Of course, new filter dryer. This is a filter dryer for the LG ADH73150-210. You can use any kind. A filter is a filter. It doesn't necessarily have to be the LG. You could put a Whirlpool one. You could put any kind, as long as it does its job. If you don't want to struggle by finding the leak, of course, put a filter with dye on them. Not all of them have dye. I know the Samsung ones don't have dye, so that's quite fun when you go to a call and they say it's not cooling. Then you spend 30 minutes, if you could easily find it, if not, an hour, trying to see where is the leak. Of course, you have the arrow pointing that way. So filter will go like this because of the Yoder loop. If Yoder loop were to be in that way, it would have gone from here like that. But in this case, it will go like this. Man, this thing sucks. I don't even use it that much and it doesn't want to cut the copper. It's terrible. Oh boy. There you go. Hopefully the camera could focus on it. Looks like it, so of course sweat it off. Always take the Schrader valve inside here. You don't want to solder it with the Schrader valve because then the seal will melt and it will leak. And we don't want that. We don't want that. So just snug it a bit. That should be fine. Of course, as we heat it, we could always push it a little bit more, but not too much because then we'll break that line and yeah, won't be pretty. So and again, we're gonna use the pink silver solder with flux. And like I mentioned, if you want, you could raise this a little bit, push it a little bit more. That should be fine. Now you could solder this line. Sometimes by adding a little bit does the job. But of course, we're gonna check everything's good. As for this one, this goes in. Of course, be careful. You don't want to push it all the way in because you have this screen inside there. So don't force it too much. All right. There we go with this one now. Oops, that's the wrong solder. Copper to copper. We're gonna use a copper. Hopefully, manage. Of course, cool it off. Cool off your welding, everything. And well, always double check the welding. Sometimes they may appear that it looks good, but once you put nitrogen and do a bubble check, you'd be surprised that it starts bubbling up. So never trust the way how it looks. New condenser. And I got this part at Repair Clinic for $66, brand new. So I think that wasn't a bad pricing. Normally condensers run about 140, 160. This one, for some odd reason, $66. So wasn't that bad. So now that everything looks normal, we're just gonna put our Schrader valves. I filter dryer, not yet. It's a little bit warm. You just want to put the rag kind of to cool it a bit. We don't want to put the Schrader and then find out it's leaking later on. Sometimes not right away. Sometimes he'll do it some other day or a couple days. So as I mentioned in my last video on the seal system for the compressor, it's always best to replace your condenser, or else this happens. I think I replaced this compressor 2 years ago. It was working fine. Just I realized that the ice cream was getting soft. And then I checked my pressures. It was in a slight vacuum. And then I checked with my UV light, and then I found dye on the condenser. So I was like, yeah, lesson learned. Lesson learned. I was like, next time I'll just replace both and do that. Next time replace compressor and condenser. You get over the problem. You don't have to worry about the condenser. If you're gonna have to worry about something, just your evaporator. Some of them have a 3-way valve and 2 evaporators. If you have a Samsung, the 4-door, you have 3 evaporators, so that makes it quite fun. So yeah, I'm gonna put this one because it's got cold again. Now we're gonna connect our gauges and bubble check it. We don't want a surprise that there's a leak. We're gonna bubble check it. Once all that checks out good, we'll vacuum the system and we add refrigerant. Oh, that took quite a turn. Hopefully you can pick it up. Everything is good here. Good. Looks good. I just don't like that part. Okay, false alarm. I thought there was a leak here, but that's not the case. So everything looks good. Everything looks good. Of course, using nitrogen. I normally set it at 100. Pressures look good. Everything looks good. They're not dropping. Normally, when you put nitrogen in the system, you need to give it about 10 minutes just to be sure that pressure doesn't drop. Since I replaced compressor and I checked other stuff, I'm really not worried about waiting. So everything looks good. All right. Now we're gonna evacuate the system. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go bring that vacuum. So now we're gonna evacuate the system. 15 minutes should be fine. You know, we're just gonna take out all the air in the system. Till it drops to 30 or close to 30. So far, so good. Once you evacuate the system, shut it off. It's at 30, of course, zero, below zero. It should not start going up. As for the low side, which is the blue one, it's at 30. It should stay at 30. It should not slowly go up. If for some ever reason it starts going up somewhere, there's air getting inside there. In other words, there's somewhere where we didn't solder properly. But in this case, everything looks good. So now, final step and easy one is to add the Freon. This R134, you know the drill. This one takes 5.0 ounces, so not really that much. So yeah, as for this, you could just disconnect it. We're done here. Of course, you need a scale so you know how much you're putting. You just don't want to add it and then, okay, that's it. No, it needs to be properly good. And it turns out that it doesn't have that much battery. Yeah, it should be fine regardless. I think I should make it. In this case, since the refrigerator was still cooling, I will be adding it on the low side. In this case, because if we add in the high side, which is where we're supposed to always fill them up, it's not going to take it. Evaporator's cold. Everything was pretty much cold, so it won't take it. Don't tell me it's a different fitting. Come on. Okay. Tricky, 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 tricky. It's not gonna go up, is it? So, yep. Open it. And we're gonna tilt it down. Or liquid. I'll tilt it down just to take out the air. That's good. That is perfect. Here's my scale. I'm just gonna tear it. Here's ounces and pounds. Of course, HVAC. I believe it's pounds HVAC. I believe so, yeah. Refrigeration, ounces. R600 butane, which is gas. That's not fun. You actually charge those by gram. So just imagine that. Just imagine that. Charging your unit by grams. That's nothing. Nothing at all. So let's see. Hopefully you can see this. It will jump a little bit, of course. Just make sure it's completely at zero. And again, like I mentioned, 30, 0. So everything's good. Everything is perfect. The tricky part is keeping that guy at 0. When it wants to, stays at 0. And like we mentioned, we're gonna charge it from the low side. And it's gonna be 5.0 ounces. This is a little bit tricky. Of course, you do not want to overcharge it. If you overcharge it, it will not cool. It will not cool. So let's see. Hopefully it doesn't again. It's jumping again. Oh, you gotta love that when it's jumping. And it does nothing. So we said 5.0 ounces. And we could just make it 5.1, should be fine. I don't want to overcharge it, of course. Keep in mind when you charge it from the low side, it goes pretty quick, so you just want to be careful on that. It's just stayed at 4.7. I just need a couple ounces. It was at 5. There you go. I don't want to risk it. Okay, at 5. Perfect. Since the refrigerator was cold, of course, it's going to take a really long time for both readings to go up, especially the low side. Since the evaporators are cold, there's frost on it, we're not going to get a proper reading. So in this case, as long as it just keeps getting cold, it should be fine. But in other occasions, when it's not cooling at all, it's completely different, you know, it's completely different readings. But yep, that's pretty much it here, you know. I mean, as for the pressure readings, it's the same. 0, 10, 10, it's okay. 0 and 100, that should be fine. So we change condenser, we check for leaks, we put nitrogen just to make sure there wasn't any contamination, any oil in the system. Because you'd be surprised with these compressors, even though it's a universal one, meaning it's a stronger, more sufficient compressor, But it looks like that's not the case at the end of the day. It's just another regular compressor waiting to fail, unfortunately. But that's pretty much it. I know I've been lacking on the videos, but hopefully I could change that. And right now I have a disaster actually. As you can see, I'm trying to put tile, the kitchen. This is part of it, so it looks nice. But yeah, that is it for this video. Leave a comment. Any questions, feel free. I always try to answer you guys on time. I don't know, with this YouTube stuff, I don't get the notification when somebody leaves a comment. So I don't know if that's normal or what, but leave a like. Share the video. Of course, I'm just here to help give you guys a little bit of knowledge. I know there's some people in the field that do these type of refrigerator, especially LG. And if you're watching, you could leave in the comment that this is one of the worst refrigerators anybody could use. Unfortunately, this one I got it on sale, so don't come at me, please. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, night, evening, morning, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.